My name is Sarah Parish, and I am the founder of Arise Aesthetics and Wellness. I started Arise because I was tired of seeing people trapped in the sick care model. And that all kind of came to fruition when I was in nurse practitioner school, and I saw so many patients that had such a knowledge deficit. And the provider was coming into the room, writing a prescription, kind of sticking a Band-Aid on it and sending them out the door. And I felt pretty frustrated with that. I noticed that there wasn't a lot of education. No one was spending time discussing lifestyle modifications or, things like exercise or their dietary choices. And I felt like there had to be more. So when I started my clinic, I wanted to have the opportunity to be able to spend that time with my patients, to really get to know them on a personal level and really understand kind of what made them tick and the things that they were struggling with, so that I could really help them. I didn't want to just stick a Band-Aid on it and call it a day. So that's kind of the short story or the short answer of kind of how I started Arise. The long story really does kind of begin about 6 years ago, when I had my own personal journey. So I was experiencing excruciating pelvic pain. It was really debilitating, and I say that, I mean I was down on my knees in pain. And it was affecting me at work, it was affecting me at home. There were evenings when I would go to tuck my kids in bed and I was crawling from room to room because the pain was so bad. So I saw my gynecologist, and he suspected endometriosis. And so in order to diagnose that, you really do have to do a laparoscopy where you can actually visualize the pelvic cavity. And so when he did, he saw that I had stage 4 endometriosis, which really indicates that there were lots of adhesions. And adhesions are just kind of like bands of scar tissue that bind the organs together. And so in my case, my ovaries were sort of stuck to my abdominal wall, which they should not be, which kind of helped explain the pain that I was going through. He really gave me the option of having a complete hysterectomy, which in my mid-30s, I was not ready for a complete hysterectomy. He gave me the option of really just kind of do nothing and wait and watch, or maybe take some medication. So I wasn't really sure about the medication route. I knew I did not want a hysterectomy at that point, and I really didn't want to do nothing because I couldn't live with that debilitating pain. So I told him I'd go home and research the medication. When I did, I knew that was not going to be the right choice for me either. The side effects were pretty awful. Things like hot flashes and night sweats and depression. What the biggest thing, I think the icing on the cake for me was the chance of my teeth falling out because it causes, the low bone density. And so I texted him, and he happens to also be a friend of mine, and I just said, I'm not going to take this medication. And he said, okay, but why? And I said, well, I don't want my teeth falling out. And he kind of jokingly said, you'll be fine, you can still function with a couple of missing teeth, which technically is true, but that's not the path I wanted to go down. I decided to just really begin Googling and kind of researching things that I could do for my endometriosis that was not going to be, taking a medication. It wasn't going to be the hysterectomy. So I began researching things like alternative treatments for endometriosis and natural therapies for it. And pretty soon I came upon the anti-inflammatory diet. And I'm kind of embarrassed to admit, I really had no idea that there were foods that I was consuming that were causing inflammation, that were making my condition worse. I started eliminating things like gluten and sugar and dairy. And before long, so much of my pain went away. And so I was no longer debilitated. I could go about my day and do my things without having such excruciating pelvic pain. And so that really kind of marked the beginning of my journey of sort of looking at things through a different lens. And in a way, because I didn't have to undergo a major surgery, I didn't have to take medication with nasty side effects. I was able to control my condition and my symptoms just by changing my lifestyle and some of the habits that I had, been doing all along. I didn't realize that the food I was consuming was contributing to my sickness. Today, when I see patients, a big part of what I do when I see them is ask them about their diet. They come to me and they say, I'm having aches and pains. One of the first things I ask about is their diet. Are you consuming foods that are inflammatory? What are you doing that's potentially contributing to that, and how can we change that? And so that's kind of the long answer of sort of how I started Arise. I wanted to be able to change the way we see things for patients and give them more opportunities and more options than just a medication. And so that's kind of where we are today.